Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, it's time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayler's gone! Come on, touchdown, Indy! Woo! America! They got a football team now!
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Wednesday, and you know what that means. Our good friend Rick Bozich from WDRB.com joins us. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Jim. How are you doing?
Cannot complain. I know you saw this, but Kevin Boyle leaving Montverde Academy in Florida to go to Spire Academy in Ohio, and I think that, which was a surprise, but I think that this was spurred by, believe it or not, NIL, even at that level, because I don't think that they have anything set up at Montverde right now, and that is apparently a sticking point.
Yeah, he's had plenty of success at Montverde, and before that in New Jersey. I think he coached high school ball in New Jersey. He's one of the best high school coaches in the country. His track record of developing guys who've gone on to be college stars and NBA players is very strong.
Yeah, he's got more NBA first-round draft picks than most college coaches. He's about to add his 4th with Cooper Flagg.
To leave Orlando to go live outside, I guess that's outside of Cleveland somewhere.
Yeah, boy.
Good luck with that.
That's like Dusty May going from Florida Atlantic to
Ann Arbor.
Boca Raton to Ann Arbor. Beautiful in the summertime, but you can keep those winters, baby. You can keep those winters.
Yeah, I mean, it's apparently high school players now are going to make as good of money as some college players.
In certain places, no doubt. Your latest piece at WDRB.com. I wish I could play the music of little Marvin Gaye. What's going on? What's going on? Because that's the title of it. Drew Beard, Otzelberger, Cronin, mystery coach. What's going on in Indiana? Good question. It's gotten quiet, which no surprise, because there's not a lot that can happen other than some behind the scenes back channeling and chirping and things of that nature. But I think Scott Dolson in Indiana, Scott is working hard to keep that information contained. And you know what? I saw Jeremy Gray at the baseball game yesterday, and I told him, you know what? I'm fine with that. I'm not that guy who just has to know this second, because you know what? When it happens, you're going to know. It'll be there. But it is a mystery because there are a lot of names that are still out there that are doable. Chris Beard is not one of those, in my opinion. I don't know if Scott Drew is or not, but I would say that TJ Otzelberger, Mick Cronin, maybe the 2 top names.
Yeah, I mean, that popped up this week on Trilly Donovan. I don't know if you go on Trilly Donovan or not, but he had his IU coaching hot board 1.0, and he had Scott Drew and TJ Otzelberger on the first tier. And then I think on the second tier, it was McDermott, McCollum, and I don't remember the third one. But
so he doesn't think that Mick Cronin has much of a shot.
Cronin must have been on the second tier. The thing that there's the things about Cronin that I think make me hesitate is if he really wanted the job, I'm surprised that Patino would go to bat for Beard and not him, because he's a he's a Patino guy. And secondly, the buyout's a problem. I mean, the buyout, from what I've been told, is at least $10 million. Some people think that's a lot of money. Some people don't, but I think it is a lot of money for a coach who's a very good coach, but he's not like he's won a national championship or, done extraordinary things. He's been very good. And sometimes I think we read too much into things. I think Mick Cronin has been signaling this year that he's not thrilled at UCLA. As many times as he's complained about stuff going on there, I mean, to keep doing it publicly, I'm sure his athletic director is not real thrilled about that. And I know that I probably talked about this last week, but the Daily Bruin and Bill Platchkey of the LA Times have both taken shots at him, saying, you're going to keep complaining like this, you better go to the Final Four or something, because your record isn't that dazzling that you can be griping like this.
I understand. I don't know if he's using that to try to get out of LA. Maybe he's trying to work out a deal where they reduce his buyout to get rid of him. I'm not sure. I doubt that they would do that, but he probably has the biggest issue with the buyout of anybody that we're talking about, because
right.
Scott Drews is like $4.5 million. Otzelberger's is $4 million. Everybody else is under that, I think.
I mean, the Otzelberger thing, though, is strange, too. I mean, Iowa State agreed to give him more money and reduce his buyout. I mean, why would you do that? I mean, usually one side gives something and the other side gets something. And if you're going to give a guy a contract extension and more money, why would you take his buyout down from 18 million to 4 million? That's strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Indiana has coaching attire in his size. For those of you that does not pay attention, TJ likes to wear mediums.
Yeah, he's double X and he likes to wear medium. Yeah, you're right. He likes to show that he does spend time in the weight room.
Kind of funny, but nobody cares if you win, right?
No, they don't. I wonder if Buzz Williams gained some juice yesterday by beating Auburn, buddy.
Oh yeah, big time upset. Not, that stuff's going to happen, but that's a huge win this time of year, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Buzz down in the second or third tier. I've talked to one agent. I've talked to some TV people who I trust, TV basketball analysts. I've talked to some current head coaches and assistant coaches, people who are familiar with IU, and nobody really knows. I mean, people, no matter what name you throw out there, they'll give you a reason they might come, but then they'll quickly give you a reason they might not come. And I've had a couple people telling me that, there could be a coach somewhere that we're not thinking of that is kind of restless at the place he's at, that like to maybe not get along with his AD real great, like to go somewhere else and try something, and has the ego to say, I'm the one who's going to succeed there after all these other coaches haven't succeeded. And Indiana's going to pay me a lot of money. They're going to have a lot of money in NIL. They got fan support. They got tradition. They got a good recruiting area, and I'm going to go in there and kick butt. So who that is, I can't identify it, but I had two different people have told me that it could be somebody nobody's even talking about.
Yeah. Are we talking about somebody from the college ranks or outside of college basketball?
Yeah. I mean, just to throw, somebody like,
Tommy Lloyd,
Greg Gard.
Dude, Greg Gard would be about as good a hire as you could make. He is, if not the best, he's one of the best coaches in the Big Ten right now. One of the best in the country. He's just solid. The way he's winning this year, incredible. It shows how good of a coach he is to make the adjustments that he's made. The personnel that he lost, we had to bring in and change, and yet still wins. We've talked about it, how, we used to watch Wisconsin. It was like watching paint dry. Well, now they get after it. And it's fun basketball. So, and he wins. So don't know if he would be interested in leaving. I don't even know what his contract situation is. He's not someone that I've looked up, but
I don't know.
He would be a hell of a get.
Yeah, and I don't know if he'd move that. A lot of coaches are uncomfortable moving within the same conference, but it's a different world now, and people who do all kind of crazy things. I mean, Guard's done a terrific job when you consider that last summer people counted Wisconsin down and out. They lost A.J. Storr to Kansas, and they lost Chucky Hepburn to Louisville, and they lost Connor Esigian to Nebraska, and people thought that they wouldn't be very good. Well, he's kind of shocked the world. Just somebody, Dennis Gates of Missouri. I mean, you could pick 4 or 5 names of somebody who might be kind of considered off the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would not be shocked by that because of the quiet, because of how Scott is seemingly able to do his job right now without interruption. And I'm glad for that for him. Like I said, without all the noise and everything getting out, let it just happen. I'm good with that.
The hard part right now is, I mean, as in any negotiation, you need to feel out which guys, or have the search firm feel out which guys are legitimately interested in not just using you to get a better deal where they're at. And I don't know how you do that. Hopefully a search firm that's experienced and been through this before, that's one of the main qualities that they have, to sort out the pretenders from the real contenders. And at the same time, they're doing their background checks on all these guys to make sure there's nothing that would pop up after they're hired to embarrass, IU or the coach. But at this point, I think the main job is that I'm sure that Dolson says, this is what we're looking for. Coach who's done this, this, and this, whether he would say, these are guys we're possibly interested in. And then the search firm talks to the agents and or the coaches and has to ascertain, this guy really will listen to you, or I think he's just playing you. Because the worst thing, well, not the worst thing, but what you don't want to have happen is get turned down by your first 2 or 3 targets. That happens frequently. I mean, heck, Mick Cronin was the 4th or 5th pick at UCLA. Mark Pope was the 3rd pick at Kentucky. Pat Kelsey was the 3rd pick at Louisville. It does happen, but I think you want to avoid that if you can.
Especially avoid it being known. If you can get by with that being under the radar, everything's great, because it's an optics thing. Because then some coaches seem like they may get the upper hand. So, but yeah, is there somebody that for you stands out and said, I think this would be the best selection, but it's not because of any allegiance or anything like that. Just they check a box and a half more than somebody else.
I mean, I'm going to say 2 names that are already out of it: Dusty May and Brad Stevens. Those are the 2.
That doesn't count.
Grand Slam, huh?
It doesn't count.
Yeah, I know they don't count. Those are the ones. Those are the 2 that I think would, excite the biggest number of people and have track records.
Yeah. But have you noticed since Dusty signed that fat new extension that
they've gone south?
Have they won a game yet since he signed that?
Maybe 1. I don't know. I mean, they've lost.
Maybe. I know they lost the first 2.
Yeah. Then they got 2. I think they might play again today and again on the weekend. They got 2 more games this week. So, and they got to go to Michigan State over the weekend. Among other guys, it would be Drew. I mean, it would be Drew. I mean, he's won a national championship. He's won at a high level at Baylor. He's recruits at the top level of the game. He's very successful in the transfer portal. They play an interesting style of basketball. I think Drew would be the top guy right now. As we've said a million times, would he be willing to walk away from the program he built from the rubble to come to Indiana and start over? And, a year ago, he wasn't interested in Louisville or Kentucky.
I don't want to get off the subject, but this is a great question. Pat Kelsey or Rick Pitino, Coach of the Year?
You could argue for either one. There isn't a wrong answer.
I would have to go with Rick Pitino personally.
I think it will be Rick Pitino because of the fact that they've won the Big East easily.
First time in 40-something years for St. John's?
I don't know if it's been quite that long, but it's been at least since, before Y2K. And, he's got a good team. He doesn't have a great offensive team. They just win with defense. And the magnetism of Pitino's personality and being in New York City in the Big East, I think he'll win it. But if you voted for Kelsey, that's certainly justifiable. Kelsey, I think, will be the coach of the year in the ACC, and he should be.
Absolutely. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. Why isn't Brad Brownell getting more attention than it seems to be? I mean, he's got Indiana ties, a former high school teammate of Calbert Chaney. He is doing very well at Clemson. They're second behind only Duke in the ACC right now. I think they've only, 24-5. That's a pretty damn good season.
He's had a great season, and they're the only team to beat Duke in the ACC, and they went to the Elite Eight last year. I mean, the reason is because I think over his career, he's only won like 3 or 4 NCAA tournament games in 13 seasons at Clemson, not very many.
But Elite Eight last season, though, at least.
Yeah. I think Brad Brownell is a very solid sleeper pick. He's very experienced. He can handle the job of being the head coach. He's from Indiana, so he understands what the job is all about. His team does shoot threes. They're shooting 38% from three this year, 14th in the country. They're ranking the top 25 in offensive and defensive efficiency. He'd be a solid choice. People balk at him because he has been on the hot seat several times at Clemson and he escaped. But his last 2 or 3 years have been his best years at Clemson. And, if he has a nice run in March, I think his name will become a little sexier. So they should win the next 2. They got at Boston College tonight and Virginia Tech at home. So they'll finish 26-5, 18-2 in the ACC.
I think he has to be higher up than people think as far as on that list.
People judge him by, his record, I guess, in 2019 or 2020.
Give him Indiana's resources, and how does all of that change, I wonder?
I agree. I know coaches who've gone against him who think he's a really good basketball coach. And I've been around him at ACC Media Day and press conferences. He handles himself very well in front of the media. I think he could do the job.
Absolutely. So we're still not going to hear anything for a couple of weeks. I mean, we have the conference tournament starting in about 6 days, I guess, next week in Tuesday or Wednesday in Indianapolis for the Big Ten, and everything else going as well. And then the NCAA tournament starts. So we're looking at 3 weeks probably at least from hearing anything. I would surprise.
Yeah, I mean, next week's conference tournament week, then the next week there'll be the second day in Dayton 2 weeks from today. We're going to have 48 teams will be eliminated that first week. So if the top target is one of those coaches that's among the 48 eliminated, they can make the move the following week. But if he's in the Sweet 16, you'll have to wait another week. And if he's in the Final Four, they're probably not going to get him anyway because he's going to stay where he's at. So I would say we should know something, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks.
Without question. Other than that, because the season will be over after that. So, and then you've got guys hitting the portal and trying to keep guys in, trying to keep whether or not Luke Goody gets another year. The next coach could come in with 3 players in place in Trent Sisley. If Zerno stays, which I think he is at the moment, and if Luke Goody were to get an extra year, I don't think that he would transfer elsewhere unless it was suggested for him.
You think everybody else is going to leave? Cups and Newton and Renew and Mbako and all of them?
Mbako's a question mark now because he has been so inconsistent.
Right.
Todd talks about his talent being just really, really good. And you can see that, but it's not his talent. It's between the ears that makes you
focus. Yeah.
Questioned.
The thing that I think he needs to improve on defense for sure. We've said that for 2 full seasons, but secondly,
he couldn't guard you and me.
There seems to be too many possessions when he gets the ball and he predetermines that he's going to shoot the ball. Whether it's a good shot, whether he's covered, whether he's open, whether somebody else has a better shot, he is going to take a shot. He takes a lot of contested and tough shots. Sometimes he makes them and he looks great, but sometimes he doesn't, and the offense kind of falls apart. So I don't know. I thought he'd be a better player by now, but he's improved some, but he's not. I mean, he's not like a top. If you pick the top 4 or 5 Big Ten, group of 5 guys, he wouldn't be in the top 4 or 5 teams in all Big Ten teams.
It doesn't seem like he can find his. I don't want to use the word role, but his spot in the role as a role
comfort zone. Yeah, he can't find his comfort zone of like, what am I most effective doing? How can I do that more?
And how can I help the team be better in that?
Right. And what should I do less? I need to quit taking as many contested shots as I take. I need to quit taking 17-footers because those are the worst percentage shots in basketball. The long twos are bad shots. And you would think by this point in his sophomore year he would learn that, but it hadn't happened. And we haven't even talked about last night's final minute and a half.
Oh no, we'll do that in the next segment. Don't worry, we got plenty. Ironically, here's a name that has not popped up
Billy D
on the board, but I had somebody tell me this in complete seriousness the other night. Brought his name up because he is very possibly going to get fired at Chicago, but I just don't see longtime NBA guys coming back to college. That's just my take on that.
I don't see it. He's made enough money where he probably doesn't have to work. He's going to be, I think, 60 years old this year. His son is involved in coaching in the NBA, and he got out of the game when he was at Florida, after he'd won 2 national championships and been to at least 2 other Final Fours because he hated recruiting pre-NIL. I don't see it myself, but you don't know. I mean, I don't think he'll get another chance in the NBA because he's been at Oklahoma City and he's been at the Bulls and really hasn't. He had that one good year with Oklahoma City, but he really hasn't done anything with the Bulls. So,
if that's the case, then does he keep coaching, and look to the college ranks? And if he is, what better place to look than a place that has plug and play system set up?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He if he wanted to come back to college basketball, coming back to one of the top 10 jobs in the game would be a thing to do. I don't see.
I hate to even talk about this about the possibility, because every time a job has come up in the last 10 years, the first name, Billy Donovan. His wife was in town looking at houses. It's the same old thing over and over. So I was like, God, I don't even want to bring this up. But someone seriously on a call the other day, and I'm like, just like pretty much everything you said. I'm like,
I don't think he wants to do it. That'd be my guess. I haven't talked to Billy since he went to the Bulls. So would
it look like a failure to him?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking right now at his record. This is the third straight year he's gotten worse. I mean, he in 2022, his teams won 56% of their games. The next year, 48%. The next year, 47%. And this year, they're down at 39%. He's going to probably get fired because they're not going to make the playoffs. So if he wants to coach, I think it'd be worth Indiana's time to talk to his agent or talk to him to see if he had any interest. But I don't see that he does. I'd be surprised by that. People that I know, you'd have to ask Brockway. He knows him better than I do. I think Brockway said in the past he didn't think he would do it.
Yeah, who knows? Well, I don't know. I don't.
Somebody threw out this name to me today, and I don't think it'll happen, but I think he's got a sneaky good resume. Is not Scott Drew, it's Bryce Drew. And he washed out, I know, at Vanderbilt in his third year there. He went 0-18 in the SEC, and he was out for a year, and then he rebounded and came back to Grand Canyon. But he's been really.
Who was his assistant there? The former Archie assistant. Oh, golly, he was from Indiana.
Tom Ostrom?
No, not that guy. He was a former high school coach, I think, in Indiana. Was there for recruiting and
Jeff
lost
Meyer?
out. No, doggone it.
At Vanderbilt?
No, he was with Archie here and then went to Bryce Drew at Grand Canyon. Oh my goodness.
He was on Archie's initial staff?
Yes. And he missed out on
Ed Schilling?
Fort Wayne. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That Schilling was on his staff. Not sure if he still is or not, but yeah, that name, I've seen it occasionally, but I don't think that he rises up past all these others. There just seem to be others that are, like we just talked about with Brownell or McDermott or Buzz Williams or Ben McCollum or, Mick Cronin, TJ. That's a lot of names to get through. I don't know that they get through all of them getting turned down. I just can't imagine that.
You're probably right. Somebody just threw that name out today because we're at the point where there's no information coming out, so people start throwing out names to create information. But I don't think he'll be the choice. I think he does deserve a chance at a higher level job if he wants that. Maybe he's just content now living in Phoenix. He played in the NBA for a while. He's probably set financially, and I think Homer Drew, his dad and his mom both live out in Phoenix too, so they probably got a pretty good thing going.
Yes, not working. That's a great thing going. Aaron from ISC says, has anyone seen the article in BVM Sports, which I have never heard of, but it says IU is eyeing Chris Beard. Came out this morning. I would say that's just clickbait.
On what? BBM Sports?
BVM. Yeah, I've never heard of that, but it's just another site, I'm sure. And I would quickly say that is nothing but clickbait. Because if that were the case, BVM is not who is going to break that story. It will be ESPN or FOX or Rick Bozich or somebody of that ilk, but it's not going to be BVM. So that's just clickbait. I've seen so many things that get thrown out, and that's the sad thing, Rick. People can't tell the difference anymore between legit stories and just clickbait sites. I'm not saying they're AI sites, but they're just putting crap out there. And I'm like, dude, and people buy into that stuff. They click on it and read it all. And I'm like, that's exactly what they want you to do. People can say the same about what we do, but I'd like to think that we're a little more in line with reality about.
No, you're right. You have to be discerning about where you get your information and talk to people. I believe most of the people that I talk to that don't lead me wrong, and I find out people that say things that really aren't true. I probably don't go back and talk to them much, but I think we've seen enough in the past from Dolson to know that he doesn't. I doubt if he's even telling anybody at IU what he's doing. I think he's trying to.
He can't. That's the thing.
You can't tell anybody anything.
No, the biggest leak, without question, to me, is the board of trustees. You cannot tell them any damn thing because I promise you that information will come out. I know for a fact.
I would think at this point it's just him and President Whitman, and she might not even know anything yet. It's just him and the search firm. That's it.
He probably has complete trust in him.
These are the qualities that I'm looking for. These are the kind of guys I'm interested in. Do a background check on them to the best of your ability to find out if they would really sit down and seriously listen to me. And when it's time, then we're going to dig in and do this. That's where I think it's at. And he can't tell anybody at IU anything because it's just not, people can't keep secrets.
Oh, hell no. Especially this stuff. I mean, oh my gosh, the amount of people that will post I talked to a pretty good friend who's a big time donor, and I'm like, buddy, unless this donor is giving 20, 30, 40 million dollars, I don't think very few donors know what's going on.
Well, there have been a lot of people I know on Peaks that have argued back and forth about Brad Stevens. There's one guy I think in particular that wrote that it was already over. The whole thing was done, and he was coming and all that stuff. And wasn't long after that, the Goodman's thing came out. So you're always going to have somebody who talks to somebody, and you're always going to have people that make stuff up because they want to sound like they're in the know.
Oh, absolutely. There was same thing on the Hoosier.com that it was a done deal, and that it was a smokescreen because when they reported it, he just said that Brad Stevens was not a candidate. And that was the quote. The quote was not from him that I'm not a candidate. And I was like, man, you're talking semantics. I'm like, yeah, I guess if you want to break it down like that, that is true. I said, but he's not going to make a statement to go back on it. And he's not leaving the Boston Celtics. And then even after Dusty May was extended, people just kept asking, well, what's the buyout? What's the buyout though? And I'm like, dude, you don't sign an extension to turn around and leave to go someplace else. That's not going to happen. Although I was surprised that the buyout for Dusty May was not raised more than it was.
I agree. I agree. Maybe they felt like they had enough trust in Dusty May that they didn't have to raise up above that level. But, that we've talked about this, how this should have all been handled last year, and it'd be so much different world, but it wasn't. And so these are the cards they have to play now.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break. The great Rick Pitino.
Let me go put my white suit on.
I'm telling you, boy, I bet he still has it. In fact, he can still fit into that thing. It's amazing.
He just wore it Saturday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. When they won, they beat, I think it was Creighton in the Garden to clinch the Big East title. He wore the white suit.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Had Tom George there, and George's wife were courtside for the game.
Oh, wow. Getting all the way back in the memories. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Rick Bozich, the great Rick Bozich with us. We've got more on the backside from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this break. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth Sour Mash Bourbons, Sweet Mash, and Hard Road Ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular Toasted Coconut Rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company Studios on this Wednesday. Thank you so much for being with us. Rick Bozich from WDRB.com along for the ride, and Indiana looked okay last night. They battled hard, but they let it get away at the end, although there was a pretty good discrepancy in free throws. But there's always a reason that you can, get around bad calls, whatever the case may be. You're going to have to deal with that at times on the road, and this was one of those times. But that was a pretty good discrepancy, I will say that.
Yeah, considering Oregon plays a pretty aggressive physical defense, especially in the backcourt. They were out on IU's ball handlers, and the big guy Kittle, not nearly as athletic as Balo or Renew, and did a fairly good job of bottling them up by bodying them up, and he didn't really get in foul trouble either. So Indiana hurt itself. I don't know what it ended up. They ended up shooting 7 free throws. Is that what it was? I know Indiana, they started out. Yes, Renew missed 2 early, and then he missed the front end of a 1-and-1, and somebody else made 1 out of 2. It wasn't good. And I know Oregon, I think, had 21 points at the line. Is that right? Wasn't it like 21-7?
They were 19 of 21.
19 and 21.
That's pretty damn good shooting as well. 3 of 7.
3 of 7. Bad. So blame yourself for not making free throws, because a couple of those at least were front end of 1-and-1s. But yeah, the officiating could have been better. But after Galloway hit that 3 and they went ahead by 1, that was it. They didn't score again. And, I know that Oregon threw in that 30-footer and did some things, but IU turned it over. And we've seen that happen in the Maryland game. We've seen it happen in the Purdue game up there, where late game, Michigan game at home. I mean, UCLA game, they just don't execute in the final minute or two, and they don't have a guy who's going to go out and just make a play. And that's what you need. And now they're in a situation where I think they need to beat Ohio State on Saturday. If they lose that game, I think they're on the wrong side of the bubble, and then put themselves in a situation where they have to win a game or two in the Big Ten tournament. So they need to win this game against Ohio State. It's a home game. It's a quad 2 game because it's a home game. So they don't have a quad 2 loss all year. They need to beat Ohio State on Saturday.
Oh, I think that they definitely have to beat Ohio State, and I think that they have to win one Big Ten tournament game because they'll be the higher seed. And I think that if they beat Ohio State but then go to the Big Ten tournament and lose to a lower seed, that equals that last game out and kind of puts them on the wrong side of Bubble City.
Won't they play Oregon probably in the Big Ten tournament again? Is that
if they beat Ohio State? I think that that's exactly how it would play out. But they'll play them on a neutral floor, which should help, and hopefully there will be a different free throw disparity than that.
Right.
And if they're able to get past Oregon, they're in the bracket with Purdue, who they match up well with. Probably should have beaten them twice, but it's probably better for them to work out that way. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. Neutral court games, and it's their destiny's in their own hands. They control everything that happens, ironically. But this, to me, Ohio State loses, they're out of the NCAA tournament here, because they're a game under Indiana record-wise. Even though their metrics are better, I don't care. You're not going to get in. They're 17-13. They go.
Yeah, they pulled one out too last night, a double overtime, 116-114 over Nebraska at home.
Yeah. So Indiana is just, if they want to make the tournament, they have to win on Saturday without question. If they do that, I still think they need to win that first Big Ten tournament game, just because it would be against the lower seed. If it was a higher seed, it wouldn't have as much bearing, I don't think.
Well, you want as much cushion as you can anyway, because you get in a situation when you're on the bubble, then you're dependent upon how many upsets there are in the conference tournaments. And like last year, teams like NC State getting into the tournament that wouldn't have gotten in if they hadn't won the ACC tournament. So you want to be as far above the bubble cut line as you can be. And they were comfortable, and they would have been really comfortable if they would have closed that game out last night. But to be up by 1 with a minute and a half or whatever it was to play and lose by 9 is just head shaking.
Well, a lot of that was free throws at the end.
Right. It was, but I don't know. They don't make,
Bruiser Flint.
they just don't make the play. Bruiser Flint, the rumor is
Is he at Arkansas?
He's at Arkansas, but the rumor is he's leaving to go with Jay Lucas at Miami, which I don't know why they want Bruiser Flint. He didn't do anything at IU.
Or Kentucky or Arkansas.
Right.
Cashing the checks, baby.
I think he wants a guy who's been a head coach to be around. That's a situation that could get a little tense because I don't know if you've read much about it. The Miami Herald had a story on Monday saying Jay Lucas was expected to be named the coach at Miami next week after they're knocked out of the ACC tournament, and he could leave Duke fairly quickly. And one of the guys he's going to hire is the high school coach at Columbus High School in Miami who coached the Boozer twins in high school. And there's some speculation that they're going to try and get the Boozer twins to decommit from Duke and go to Miami. If you're Jay Lucas, I'd make sure I had my cars and family out of town before I did that.
They have the money in Miami. I can't remember the guy's name there, but they've kind of fallen off of the pathway since they made that initial run when NIL was getting started. Boy, they jumped in and he brought some players in. I almost said brought some players in. Nigel Pack, one of those guys that Indiana lost.
He's still there.
I would be if I was him, making the money he was making. I'll tell you that. What is up next for you, my friend?
Louisville plays a game tonight at 9:00 against California, and then Saturday I might be in Bloomington. I might stay here. I haven't decided yet. And then conference tournaments.
You might as well come up. It's the last regular season game of the year.
See who's going to walk on senior day. That'll be Ballo, Galloway, Leal. Will Goody walk?
Oh, absolutely. Because if he doesn't know his status, I would say absolutely when you already have two guys that are doing it that have already done it once to begin with.
Yeah, Langdon Hatton, I guess. Nigel Pack played the first 9 games and has been injured and hadn't played since.
I didn't know he was still playing.
That'll be interesting because last year's senior day was interesting, but hear what Mike Woodson's comments were and the comments from the players. And it comes after the game. So it'll either be a team that might be a little chesty after beating Ohio State, or it'll be a team that if they lose to Ohio State should be a little subdued.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Make sure you're giving Rick a follow, keeping up with all things going on in college athletics and sports in general at WDRB.com, or give him a follow on Twitter. Appreciate you, my friend, as always.
Right. Have a great week, Jim.
You too, buddy. Hopefully see you Saturday. Big thanks to everybody for joining us on the program today. Another fun one. Back tomorrow to do it again. We'll talk some more basketball. We've got some more football to talk about as Pro Day happened yesterday for Indiana. And we're getting closer to wrapping up the regular season for not only Indiana, but the rest of the Big Ten. Purdue, they are not going to be able to squeeze up to win a title, but they're going to end the season pretty well. Appreciate you, as always. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio.